got things cleaned up as good as I care to get it. Everything got almost everything, I'd say about 90% of the surfaces in here got at least a light sanding, some wire wheeling up in the corners. The walls got it pretty good. Swept, vacuumed. I think I'm ready for some seam sealer. Kind of skipping the cab area. I am going to clean up this edge and this back edge so I can seal that plate. But other than that, there's not too many places up here I need to put seam sealer on, except for maybe some tiny holes, and I'm not worried about prepping this area just yet. So just one spot I'll clean, seam seal. I like how creamy it is, or smooth, easy to apply. I was afraid it was going to be like quad, which is kind of hard to get out of the tube, but that's really nice to work with. Just spreading the excess out, make sure it's got a good seal. Alright, there's one tube down. Got all the way across here, around the transmission cover. Around that thing, a little cover plate, seam there. Around there. Not too bad. I think I'm gonna have to get one more tube though, because I might not go all the way. I also want to go down below and hit the framework that is touching bare steel. The stuff cures pretty quick, or it gets a skin over it pretty quick anyway, and it's got some strong solvents in it. I had to switch over my latex glove for my last nitrile because the fingertip fell off. So it's really fumy. It smells like, I don't know what it smells like, but it's really familiar. It smells like a cleaning, I don't know, it smells like something automotive. I can't think of it. Kind of smells like paint. Kind of smells like PB blaster, some kind of automotive chemical. It smells a lot like. It's a real familiar smell. But so far, I like this stuff. It's working really good. It's real easy to apply. So let's see here. I got 5 more tubes left. Let's see what I can get done. Okay, let's get a few spots from down below real quick. I was thinking about stitching these up like I did that back panel, but it ended up warping the panel more. And the reason I stitched it down is because it's bubbling up in the heat, or when the sun was hitting it, and it'd pop when I step on it. But when I stitched it up, it just kind of moved the bubble around. Kind of made it better, but I just figured, you know, that was one large panel in the back. These are smaller panels, but I could have stitched them. But I'll just do this. I'll get some seam sealer. I just squirt it as good as I can up underneath of it, maybe push a little bit, yeah. And it'll give me some help with vibration and popping a little bit, hopefully. There's some other spots that are pretty, not right there, that's where it's welded, so I won't worry about that. But anywhere where it's got some give to it, I got some slack, I'll squirt some of this stuff up there. Okay, something like that. It's gonna be, I think, just a couple spots on each side. Well, this glove seems to be okay. Maybe I just scraped the other hand on some sharp metal edges. That would be the fourth tube. About halfway done, I think I'm looking pretty good. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I have one tube left over. That's what I'm guessing that I'll be left with. But there's a good chance I'll probably use every one of these, maybe. One more tube. Yeah, I think I can get this done with one more tube. These two tubes. This tube and one more tube. Alright, look at that. I got everything done with this last tube. Or this last tube that I showed you. Still got two tubes left. One in there and one still in my office. Everything seems sealed. I'm sure there's a few other places I can't think of right now that I need to do. I already got some holes on the front done as well. This side done really good. Seam sealed underneath. Seam sealed in some other places too where there was gaps from the uneven floor framing between the original frame and the frame I put in. There was some uneven spacing like right here, so I just kind of filled that in. That little spot right there, I could probably just a little dab in there. It actually probably didn't matter at all, but I got a couple squirts left in this thing, so yeah, this is all gooped up real good. Gooped. Real happy with that. Real happy with the way this turned out. 2 extra tubes left over. That makes me very happy. I could seam seal this, but I'm just gonna do what the last manufacturers did, which was just put like a piece of, it looked like a Turnabond, just fold it over the seam right here. You can still see some of the adhesive from it, but yeah, that was just like a piece of a Turnabond. But then again, I kind of don't want to, I mean, this part will be covered up by the cap, by the front cap. It goes to like right about here-ish. So that'll be covered up, and I guess I could go either way with that. I don't know, seam sealer might be a little easier to clean up if I ever have to do anything to this corner for some reason. I don't know. I like the seam sealer though. This stuff is neat. It's hardening up like rubber. I mean, that's got, the thinner stuff is rubbery. The thicker stuff is only skinned over right now, but there's some old stuff, some new stuff. Yeah, awesome. Seam sealer is all done, except for like, yeah, a couple places that I can do later. Gonna need to let that sit and cure, and yeah, it's gonna be raining tomorrow. Let's just do it. Gotta do it. Stuff's crazy, it'll stick to anything. Just about. Alright, these edges are sealed up. Holy moly, you guys. I am so happy to see this. Windows. Still need vents, but I might just tape those up. I don't feel like digging around to try and find those. Or, I know where they're at, but they're kind of buried. But isn't that the coolest thing ever? Patches. I could finally see what you're gonna look like, and it's not so bad. I just wasn't sure how these were gonna look, but they look great. That is so cool to see patches with their windows in. Oh, that is so cool. Gotta be careful. These are kind of loose since there's not an inside panel. That actually tightened up okay. This driver's side window, need to watch that seam sealer. This was a little floppy, and it'll stay floppy until I get some, you know, like some kind of plywood in there. Or I could cut the screws shorter. But for now, I just stuck a rag in there to keep it the top in tight. So it stays put. Kind of looks like I'm gonna need to do like a top piece and like a bottom piece. I mean, I could probably squeeze something in behind that, but I'm gonna be making like a little tiny 1/4-inch sliver of plywood. But yeah, I can make it work. We'll cut the plywood to fit the inside shape of the doorstop, so it fits right in there. This is so cool. This was the worst fitting window, but it actually popped in once I started tightening all the screws down. So that's really cool. again, if I have to, I'll shave down the frame a little bit. But yeah, it goes right in there. Plenty of room for my dash to clip in. Oh, that is so cool to see the windows in. It almost feels like home. Right now it's looking a little more like jail, but jail never put a smile on my face like this, so it just needs a little more work. God, I can taste it. I can taste the road. Yeah, I would also need to put the air conditioner in here and figure out some insulation, maybe use some more of this door or window foam. I know this isn't the best stuff, but I used it on my first version of Patches 1.0. And it didn't do too bad. It gets roughed up over time. Gets dirty real easy. Yeah, it doesn't take abuse too well, but I've never had any problems with it on any other time I've used stuff like this. And I'm stepping in the seam sealer. Yeah, so I've used this stuff before. Not the best, but it's readily available at a hardware store, and $3. It was like $2 and something for 10 feet. So I was kind of trying to save money. It was something I already have used, and I was trying to get this done before the rain came. I hadn't done I figured there'd be something automotive I could use that's this big and that thick, and able to apply just to a surface application instead of clipping on. I guess I could clip on get some of that clip-on stuff, but I'd rather just use the adhesive. But yeah, I hadn't done my research yet to see what I could come up with. But thankfully, one of you guys in the comments, you shared with me an Amazon link, which I was able to cross-reference and find some eBay. I don't have an Amazon account. And yeah, they do make stuff like this for automotive purposes. And I'll get some of that later. This stuff won't be too hard to remove. Might need a heat gun, but it'll come off. One way or the other, it'll come off. So we'll update that later. Right now it's just a quick, cheap job to get things going, get things sealed up. Didn't want to spend a bunch of money on. Oh, I love it. Gotta pull it a little bit for the deadbolt, I think. What's wrong with the deadbolt? So anyway, yeah, we'll update the seals later. Yeah, it's just a tight fit. See, if I get some automotive stuff, that might be really hard to shut, because I'm sure, another reason I got the cheap hardware store stuff, because it's really squishy, and I wasn't sure the fitment on it. So if I put in the automotive and it didn't work, it would have been a huge waste of money. So now when I see it's not a waste of money. And yeah, we'll mess with this, replacing the seal next year, but it'll work just fine. Thank you everybody for chiming in on the comment section and helping me find some proper stuff. I'm glad to see that there is an option for some more durable seal. This is so cool. I gotta finish cleaning my caulk. Last time this window was installed in Patches, I kept getting water coming in. I figured it was the window, caulked everything around this window. It's actually already partially cleaned up. You can see that caulking's been ripped off to about right there. And desperate attempt to get the leak to stop working a long time ago. Now I regret it because that's a pain in the butt to get off, but yeah, I need to scrape all that off before I can open up my passenger window again. But yeah, no, that is so awesome to see them installed, ready to go. Or not ready to go, but yeah, looking good, looking good. I like what I'm seeing a lot. This is cool. Kind of felt like a project up to this point. Now I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing. A little bit. That's just a cool shot, having all that steel in the view of the camera. I'm gonna go take some pictures with my phone. But yeah, we're gonna get the heater in here, cover up these windows somehow, maybe just a couple pieces of Alright, I came up with this idea. It's just a piece of rigid insulation foam. Duct taped it on the sides and across the bottom. I think it is most important along the bottom to create a little bit of a barrier, so if water puddles up down here, it'll trickle, it'll flow outside instead of inside. I don't know if that'll work or not, but it'll help keep any free falling rain from coming in here. A little wind from blowing it in, it'll keep the heat in. Got a heater in here. I am using this old piece of scrap left after cutting a hole for the vents to measure out these plugs. I cut these ones a little bit longer, but I'm trying to make them a little too tight to fit in the holes, so I have to squeeze them in so they hold themselves in there a little better. And maybe I don't have to use as much duct tape, but that's how I'm doing that. So those are the vents. I think this one is the air conditioner. And you might have noticed, but I'm also duct taping around the edges to keep this stuff from getting everywhere inside the RV. Plus I might want to reuse those at some point. All right. Got everything sealed up, except for that big hole right there. I'm just gonna lay a piece of plywood in front of it. Yes! All sealed up in my steel RV. So cool. So I decided to cut these a little bit longer, like I was mentioning, and they fit a whole lot tighter. This one, I mean, they were too tight. This one, I was thinking it was gonna break in half from trying to squeeze it in there, but it went in. That's in really tight. I didn't bother taping it in. I just put the little piece here for like a gutter, just in case the water pools up. Same thing here. This was so tight, it's actually bowing. So that was a little too big, but I like that so much better. Cutting those longer so they squeeze into place. And also got a little tape there for a little gutter. I forgot to cut this longer, but it didn't matter because of this piece I put in, so that fit in nice and tight too. Didn't need to worry about taping. This is at an angle, so this won't let any water come in. So that is good. All sealed up. Heat going. Oh yeah, we got this opening right here that I'm not gonna bother sealing it or anything. I'll just put a piece of plywood there. Oh, and I need to put the, all right, got the hole blocked off. Help keep some of the heat in here, as well as the engine cover. That's awesome. All right, patches can stay nice and dry in here. Let's actually turn the heat up just a little bit. Keep the moisture out. I just love seeing my windows in. It's just too cool. Can't wait to have those sealed in permanently. Alright, you guys, get a little bit of rain tomorrow. Probably even the next day. You know, the weather's so unpredictable. The weather report is so unpredictable. It says one thing, it says it's sunny, then it rains. It says it's supposed to be rain, then it's sunny. I get horrible reporting out here for some reason. But that is it. This patch is all bundled up. Oops, there's Rusty. Watch out, Rusty. I haven't forgotten about you. Calm down. It'll be a good time to go in while it's raining like this and check for any pinhole leaks on the roof. I don't think there is any, but I don't know for sure. So that's something I'll probably do tomorrow when it's raining. So, okay, I had my days off. Tomorrow is going to be rainy. So I can go ahead and finish the interior paint or priming. Got this stuff, Metal Master Universal Primer. Gonna be blowing out all the cracks with some compressed air, sweeping, vacuuming. Then I'm going to wipe down with some acetone. And we'll get to painting. Got that for the driver door. That still needs a little prep. I'm just getting the majority painted. I'm gonna have to go around and paint in all the corners. Got tired of doing the brush, so I'm running out of daylight and it's gonna rain tomorrow, so I'm just trying to get as much done as I can with the roller. And good. Got done with the could. I was thinking about getting a sprayer, one of those airless sprayers, but that would cost more money. Or I was thinking about renting it, but still I didn't really have the money for that. I already spent all the money on the rollers and stuff. But that would be an awesome option right now. Alright, there you guys, there it is. So there it is, all done. Well, not all done. I gotta come back and paint all the corners. But I've used up all but maybe 1 cup of that gallon. There's just a little bit left. So I think I'm gonna have to go get some more anyways. But yeah, I would have liked, I could probably finish that the day after tomorrow. We got rain tomorrow, but the day after should be sunny. So I should be able to come in and get all these corners done. If not, we'll just keep the heat in here and keep the moisture out. About to do that right now. And get the windows put back in. And button it back up. Let it dry for a day. Got the doors. Forgot to get these side doors, but that's alright. I could just open those up and take them off. Alright you guys, not a single leak to be seen in here. I came in with the duct tape and a rag to make those little gutters again. Since I painted, I took off the tape. But even those areas aren't leaking. Everything's all good and dry. Ready for a second coat at some point. Boy, I was really expecting a little bit of water, at least in this corner from the window, not being sealed, but man, look at that, not a drop of water in this RV. And the red is cool. I like seeing Patches all finished, or mostly finished, with all her steel, bare steel covered up. Floor looks really good. Alright you guys, we just got back from Harbor Freight and the paint store, Rada Paint. Harbor Freight, I got some lighting because I'm tired of just using my headlamp. It's not really quite adequate in there, and ever since I put the floor in the RV, there's just not been enough lighting to get things done. So I got me one of these from Harbor Freight. I think it was like 15 bucks, something like that. It comes with a magnetic base. It's a clamp style. You can use the clamp or the magnetic base. Looked like a pretty good deal. And got me a few of these. These were like $3 each, so I got me an extra one. I figured I need at least 2. Might need the 3rd one for running this in there. Plus I might get another one of these next payday, or I'll use one of my other clamp lights. I have some of the standard socket style clamp lights. This is just an LED fixture. There's no bulb you can replace or anything. So yeah, these are nice for that because you can connect them together and then have an extra plug for other lighting. But for right now, just the one, and extension cords to run that around to make just make sure I'm not tripping over those cords. I got some magnetic hooks. Probably put a little piece of duct tape on the back to make sure those don't scratch up my nice primer paint in there. Prime job. I need some insulation, window foam, window and door foam. Got the cleaner. Finally got me some extra memory for the PC. Now I can store I got a big old archive of Class A living footage that needs to go off the PC, so I have room to edit videos. So that's gonna help a ton. 2 terabytes for $68. Also got me a different kind of nap. The one I'm using right now is really bad at just sliding and not rolling, so I got me one of these all paints and stains. 4 all paints and stains. The ones I have says it's for latex or oil. I have water-based acrylic, so maybe that'll work a little better. I don't know, just a few bucks. And since I used up that gallon of primer, Metal Master, I went back to Rada Paint for another gallon, but they did not have a gallon. They had it in gray, but I already started with red, and I don't want a bunch of gray. I'm kind of just doing the edges right now and doing touch-up over areas where I've put the paint on too thin and you can still see metal, so I don't want a bunch of gray stripes all over the place. It's going to get confusing and harder to see the areas I've missed. It's easy to see over a big red wall where there's areas that didn't get enough paint. If there's a bunch of gray stripes, I think it's going to be a lot harder to see what I'm doing. So I had to get a 5-gallon. It was like $300 originally, but Rada Paint, the awesome employees there, got this down to $166. That's freaking awesome. I do not need 5 gallons, but they didn't have another gallon, and they said that red oxide is something they don't sell very often, so they don't order it very often. So I had to just get me 5 gallons, which is fine. I can use I'm sure I could use that underneath or something. It's interior and exterior, anti-corrosive, rust inhibitive. Gotta send out a huge thank you to Seth A. Thank you very much, Seth A, for your very generous donation. That helps out a ton with this project and keeping the videos flowing. I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Seth A. Putting some duct tape pads on the back of these so they don't scratch up the paint. They did have a little something on them, but it wasn't quite centered. So there would have still been some edge on this magnet that could have scratched. Alright, second day of painting. I'm going around getting all the corners and painting up at least a few inches, 2 to 3 inches, something like that. So when I go around with the roller for the second time, because there's a few spots that need it, so I'm just going to re-roll everything twice. Except for maybe the front, because I got that down really good. Because it's a tight area. Except for the ceiling, that needs a few more spots touched up too. So anyway, coming in a few inches so I can just roll it out, not have to worry about getting right up in the corners with the roller. I'm painting on the sides of the framework because the top I can just roll that again, and then I think I'm pretty much done with the walls. Except for maybe a few spots on the front and the door. And then I just got the ceiling left. Just getting around the corners, same thing, painting inward a few inches. Okay. Alright, it is day 3 and I just finished up my second coat of paint around in the edges, or in the corners and on the sides of all the framework. these large surfaces. Everything's got a good coat around the corners. Went back a second time. I really didn't want to, but there's still some streaks. So yeah, that was kind of just a nightmare. This is just so tedious doing all this, but yeah, everything's getting a really good coat in here. Probably not necessary, but that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I got everything painted just about. So we'll roll out the ceiling, we'll roll out the sides, or the walls. We'll roll out the floor one last time. And then I might even roll out this floor. Pretty nifty deal there. And it's got a little cushion so it doesn't scuff up the paint. And it's real small. I do like that. Yeah, I like it. It works pretty good. But we have another option coming from Hyperlate. They want to send us a product to try out. And might be a little easier moving that around. It's a stand light. So instead of trying to pull this down and put it up everywhere I go, and the magnets too, I wasn't really thinking about it, but yeah, that's kind of a pain in the butt. If I put those up and just left them up, that'd be one thing, but I gotta recoat everything, including the surfaces of the frames. I've only painted the sides, so I'm gonna roll out everything that is facing me. So yeah, this would be actually work really good just doing the clamp too, but I am painting right now, so it's gonna get in the way. So we'll try the stand light. Got a couple upcoming reviews to do. Yeah, I really like this oxide red. I wonder if they have a gloss version of this. I guess I could just put a clear coat on that. And not for in here, but I wouldn't mind painting something else that color. I don't know, maybe I could paint my interior walls this color as well. Yeah, this is quite the job. I will never do this again. Never, never, never. Not without a sprayer. I'll do it with a sprayer, but yeah, this was a nightmare. But now that I'm almost done, feels good. Feels good getting all that hard work in and seeing a nice paint job. right. That there is all painted. Finally done. 2 coats. Alright, that horrible job is finally done. I'm glad also that they did not have a 1 gallon in stock, because I ended up using like 2.5 gallons to finish all that. So I'm glad I got the 5 gallon, got plenty left. Actually, I probably used about 2 gallons because there's still a half gallon left in there. But yeah, would not have had enough if I only got 1 gallon. So got a little extra left over for other things. I still need to paint the bottom of the RV. Everyone keeps suggesting pour 15, so I might just go with that. I heard that can just go straight to bare metal, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we'll take care of that later. I am burnt out on painting. And I'm actually going to be taking a little break so I can get some review videos done. I got some awesome products coming up, some that'll be helpful for the channel. And I think you guys will find these products helpful as well. So we'll get a few reviews done. Then we'll get back to painting the undercarriage, or maybe we'll save that for the next dry season. And then of course I got the interior insulation and walls to put in, which can be done during the rain. So finally, there's no more rush to this, no more hurrying to beat the weather. I have finally beat the rain this year. Every last couple years I've been getting to the point where I had to just tarp it up and quit what I was doing, which was actually a bad idea because the rust, the tarp would rub off the rust, and it actually caused some damage to the sheet metal, whereas the light rusted areas didn't actually look too bad. There were spots where the bungee cord was running up to the tarp, and with the wind it would just sit here and rub and rub and rub. I'd rub the rust off, it re-rust, and actually made a couple gouges in a few places. Still not the biggest deal, you can't see them anymore with the paint. But yeah, tarp was a bad idea. It just made things worse. The light rust didn't really cause any damage, just had to sand it off. It's a lot of work though. So now it could rain all at once. We are good to go. Patches is good to go. And we've got all the time I need to finish up that interior. I'll see what I can get done this winter. So stay tuned everybody, got lots coming up. I'll see you in the next video.